two things that Steve kind of skipped over was ring in a building. It's pretty tough getting a building. There's a stigma that goes along with professional wrestling. Not too many people want to be involved with it. Sometimes you try to contact somebody about maybe renting a place, renting a gymnasium, and all of a sudden, the second you mention you're going to do something with professional wrestling, they're out of the deal. They don't want anything to do with it once they know that professional wrestling is going to be taken on. And I'm not sure exactly what it is, if it's because it's not a legitimate sport, or maybe it's because they think somebody's going to get hurt, which is kind of the two weird things. That they think it's not real, then they think it might be too real kind of thing. But there's a very big stigma that goes on with professional wrestling. I'm not sure why. I've always loved professional wrestling since I was probably about 3 years old, and I really don't get it, but I pick up on these things that people just don't have any desire to let their companies and other said buildings to be used. So it's pretty hard. I mean, you have to really woo somebody into letting you use their building. It's very sad, actually. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes on. I mean, some guys who get VA halls or VFW halls, American Legion halls, they really have to put a lot of effort into that. They really have to get good deals made with the people who own these things so that they can put on shows every, second Friday of the month, the last Friday of the month. And it's a trying thing. I think that not too many people understand how to do that. Also was going to talk about the wrestling ring. Now, granted, some promoters have their own, and they're pretty good. However, some promoters have their own wrestling rings, and they're complete junk. And they're like, well, don't bump anywhere on the side, you're going to get hurt. Don't bump on this spot, don't bump on this. But there's 2 spots that you can possibly bump on in the ring at the end. It can be rough sometimes. I have worked in some rings where it was literally like you felt squished, and the rings were so small. And other times, they're really big rings. That does kind of vary, for professional wrestlers to take bumps in. And then there's some that have springs, some have multiple springs, some don't at all. It's just wood and steel. If you have those covered, you have a good ring, good building. You need to have a good promoter. You need to have a promoter who's not there to be the champion. First of all, I would think it. A promoter who's the champion, I mean, granted, there's good reasoning behind that. I think we all know, because, I mean, obviously the owner's not going to walk out on his own building. The owner's not going to run off with the belt, yada, yada, yada. But if the show is just for the promoter, I don't see how anybody else can get too much out of it. If the whole show is just to make one guy look good, and I think the show should make everybody look good. Everybody, or should give everybody the platform to look how they wanted to be looked. And that goes into, Steve talked about social media. Should you be promoted on Facebook? Of course you should be promoted on Facebook. You should make events on Facebook, invite everybody that's on your friends list on Facebook. Of course, why not? It only seems fair. I mean, you have a party at your house, you ask people to come over. So, why not? But however, you do need to get some flyers made, professional flyers made. And I can't stress how much a professional flyer looks to a fan. That they can have something professional to hold in their hands, a hard copy. Because, I mean, I know a lot of older wrestling fans who don't have social media. But, you hand them a flyer, and that's something that they can hold on to, that they can keep. They can have that day of the show that they can look and see where everything's at, what time, how much it's going to be, who's going to be there, so that they can get there to the show. And I hope that doesn't die. I hope, at least progressively put out those flyers, and even pay some kids to go out and hand out your flyers. You know, I would stress that a lot. Also, storylines. I love storylines in the show. I think they can probably that's the whole point of professional wrestling. I mean, we're not here for just people to fight. I mean, it's not UFC. I mean, if you want to see people fight, watch UFC. I mean, if you want to watch something that's going to entertain you with more than just, you know, a 12-second knockout, that's why you watch professional wrestling. You don't watch it to see who's going to win, who's going to lose. That's not the point. The point is to be entertained, to have fun. There's not a lot of fun things. Professional wrestling is probably the only fun thing left out there. Video production. I love when I see video production. I love cameras. I love seeing cameras everywhere. And it's really hard that some people record stuff and it never sees the light of day. It never comes out on Facebook. Never comes out on YouTube. Why not? Why not promote what you're doing? I mean, you have all this footage. Put it out there. What's the worst that could happen? I love highlight movies. I love regular matches. I love the highlight movies where it says music in the background, has pictures of the superstars, everything. I love all that stuff. I love the shows like Steve's and Justin's show, Behind the Curtain. I love that stuff. To have that kind of production value, I mean, it's going to be worth whatever it costs, which is another aspect of running a promotion is money. It does cost a lot of money to run a professional wrestling show. I mean, we've all heard, you know, it's the fastest way to lose money is to become a wrestling promoter, and it's so true. I mean, I have a friend who tried to put on a couple of wrestling shows, lost a lot of money, lots of money, and everything went great though. Everything went great, still lost a lot of money. I guess that's the nature of the business. I mean, he just wanted to put on shows. He wasn't expecting to get rich, but he did make a little money here and there. But eventually, in the end, it does catch up with you, I would think. But talent. Now, that one's going to be a touchy subject because talent, everybody knows good talent. Everybody knows, especially in the Houston area, there's a good group of guys that are at every show. They're in the main events. They're the guys who get talked about. They're the guys on the flyers. There's the guys whose videos come up on YouTube. Those are great talents, I would say. They're dependable talents. They're talents you know what you're going to get when you hire certain guys like Robbie Gilmore. You're going to get Rockstar every time. Ryan Davidson. You bring in Ryan Davidson, you're going to get him full effect every time I've seen him anywhere. Mysterious Q, another guy whose character actually precedes himself. I mean, in the locker room, pretty laid back guy, very chill, and he puts on that mask. He walks out through that curtain. He's Mysterious Q from the moment he walks out of that curtain through the match until he comes back through that curtain and takes that mask off. He's Mysterious Q. Another larger-than-life character is Wallace Gordon. He comes out through the curtain. He has the voice on, everything full effect. But however, talking with talent, there's some guys who just aren't at that level yet, and they've been in this business for a number of years, and I've seen them, and I've seen nothing change, and that is something that's very wrong with indie wrestling. Its characters are not evolving. If you have a stagnant character, I mean, who really wants to see that? If it's not popular, I mean, if you're doing the same thing you've been doing for 10 years and you're still not at the top of your game, if you're still not in the main events, something's wrong. You need to change. And I think there's some guys who are pretty hard-headed about that, and they don't want to change, and I hope they're happy where they're at, because that's where they're going to stay. We have a couple of places I know of around here that in the Houston area that have offered great training. Tugboat Taylor, Booker T. I mean, granted the facilities are very different, but both offer a great background, great education in pro wrestling, and can help you get your foot in the door. Another thing to touch on, like Steve did, what makes a good match? Well, first of all, I would say build up to a match. These guys have to be. There has to be a reason why these guys are having a match. There has to be either a feud, somebody, slap somebody else's girlfriend, somebody for a title shot, obviously. Um, I mean, if there's a tournament, why are these guys fighting? If it's just a match, I'm not sure I can get too much into that. It depends on how the guys work it. I mean, if they come out, if it's a really hot feud, these guys are really hating each other. It needs to be. You need to work that match different. You need to work that match with more fists. You need to work it more hard style or strong style than anything else, I would think. As opposed to two guys who just met up in a tournament, that they would need to work their match more technical, I would say, and more arm bars, more headlock takeovers, that type of thing. And another thing, like Steve said, when the moves aren't crisp, really irks you. And that's one of the things that I see too, and especially when I'm in the ring and I see guys that isn't as good as it should be. And I think that goes back to training. I think if you have a proper training when you're in there doing those moves, and it's like, you go to practice and you throw 15 clotheslines in your practice so you can make sure that you're getting them right. You go to practice, you do 20 some odd body slams, making sure you're doing body slams right, that they look good, is what I mean. That if you're doing it right, it looks good. You're not going to hurt the guy you're working with, and all that. Probably the main thing I see is weak clotheslines, and that irks me bad. I was always told to pop clotheslines, but if you want to just run out there and throw your arm out of it, I guess that's what you're going to do. I don't like it though. Crowd interaction. I love crowd interaction, but I don't think it should take away too much from the match. I mean, granted, it's an indie show. That's what the fans paid their $10 to see, to get messed with, and they want to mess with you. They want to tell you you suck. They want to get under your nerves and all kinds of stuff. That's what they're there for. And I like it to a point. I mean, I don't like fans getting touched. I don't like fans getting thrown around or any of that kind of stuff. I'm not a fan of that. But definitely some good interaction and talking to make sure that you're over whatever you are. If you're a tweener, if you're a face heel, whatever you want to, whatever your character is, just making sure you're getting over, and that's the thing. Overall, like Steve said, it's just getting over. Get yourself over. I mean, you have a camera there. Why not get yourself over? Why not promote your character? Nobody else is going to promote your character if you don't do it. Nobody is going to believe your character if you don't believe it. You have to believe you are who you are when you walk through that curtain. I mean, everything set aside. All anxieties set aside. No matter what, when you walk through that curtain, you are the baddest motherfucker walking on this planet. That's what you have to be. That's what it has to be believable. If you see half-hearted people trying to work on WWE television, they're not going to be there long. And they probably shouldn't have gotten there in the first place if they have half-hearted attitudes about what they're doing. Because if you come out already defeated, there's nowhere else to go. This is, once again, Victor Leyva, Andrew6657. That's my 2 cents. Like this video, give me some comments, no matter what they are, and I'll pass them along to all my buddies and in the wrestling business. So take care.